Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy you're here. Today we are doing a what's for dinner, and Phil is in the kitchen with one of our grandorables. This is Graceland. They've come down for the weekend, and Graceland is helping Grandpa make Guinea Grinders, which are Italian sausage sandwiches. So Phil and Graceland are browning the Italian sausage, and then Phil is separating the slices of mozzarella cheese that will go on top of the sandwiches. And I will have a list of ingredients for all of the meals that we made this week in the description box below, so you can be sure to check that out as well. I hope you guys enjoy this video. These sandwiches are one of our family's very favorite meals. Graceland is filling the hoagie buns with the meat and pizza sauce mixture, and Phil is moving the cheese aside because he's going to pull out the first batch of grinders, which have been broiling in the oven, and you'll see these come out with all that melted brown, golden brown cheese, and oh my goodness. You guys, I can't tell you how good these sandwiches are. Now, a lot of people just serve them open-faced like this. Phil does not. He is how do you say this? He is a purist, and to him a sandwich is a sandwich, and so you will see him burn his fingers as he puts these sandwiches together and then slices each one in half to make the first batch of grinders. As I said, he made two. He loves these sandwiches cold and will take them for lunch. And this is one of those meals that our kids will routinely request when they're coming over for dinner. They will call Dad and say, "Will you make grinders? I want to come to dinner on Friday." And that's what Teresa did when they told us they were coming down. She specifically asked Dad to make grinders, and here they are. And we usually just serve them with Doritos or cheese nips or chips of some sort. So yummy. You guys definitely have to try this. Next, I'm putting a roast in the crock pot. So I'm putting the liner in, and I know that there's a lot of people that don't think the liners are a good idea, and that's awesome. If you don't like them, don't use them. That's fine. Just spray your liner with a cooking spray or something like that so it's easier to clean. I love the cleanup of the liners, to just take it out and throw it away. Just makes it so much easier. For whatever reason, my crock pots never come clean. Even if I soak it or put it in the dishwasher, I still have to hand wash it. So I just don't like that. The great thing about a roast in the crock pot is it makes your house smell amazing all day long, and it takes an inexpensive cut of meat and makes it super tender and yummy. So I'm just putting the roast in there with some beef powder. You can also use like a beef broth, you can use bouillon cubes, you can use beef consomme. All of those things will make the roast beef taste amazing, and it'll also enhance the flavor of the juices so that your gravy is super flavorful. Phil is very particular about his gravy. He doesn't want vegetables or onions or ranch seasoning or anything like that in there, which is fine. So I'm just adding the beef powder and some water, and then I'm going to throw the lid on that and let that cook all day long. A little tip for you, I will say I think the roast is more tender if you thaw it and don't cook it frozen. Now you can, if you're putting it in the crock pot, you can put it on high in the morning frozen, and it will be perfectly fine in the evening, but I think it tastes better when it's thawed and you cook it on low. Now I'm cooking the Bob Evans mashed potatoes in the microwave according to directions, and I'm just going to heat up a can of peas because that's what I was hungry for on this particular day. So you can see I've showered and changed clothes. I put on a sweatshirt because Phil's home and the air conditioner's on, I don't know, somewhere near Arctic. I wouldn't be surprised if it actually snowed in our house one of these days. So you'll see Phil in short sleeves, and you'll see me in sweatshirts on a regular basis because he keeps the temperature very cold. Now I'm going to boil the drippings, and I have made a thickening of cornstarch and milk, and I'm just going to pour that into the drippings from the roast and keep stirring that constantly to keep any lumps or clumps out, and then that'll thicken right up and make a really great gravy. And now I'm going to fix my plate. This roast is so good, you guys. It comes out fork tender. You don't even really need to cut it. It just falls apart when you take it out of the crock pot. So I'm going to have some roast, and I'm going to have some mashed potatoes and gravy and some peas. I was really hungry for peas for whatever reason this particular day. I don't know about you guys, but I love most vegetables. So peas just sounded really good, so that's what I made. The gravy came out fantastically. Phil loves bread and gravy. That's one of his favorite things. My mom always laughs when we have bread and gravy, when she sees Phil eating bread and gravy. She says when they were young and extremely poor, that's what their mom would make. That's what my grandmother would make for dinner. She would boil a leftover piece of meat or cheap cut of meat and make gravy, and that would be all that they had for dinner. So to see her son-in-law choosing to eat that as his meal totally cracks her up. But it is one of his favorite things, and that's what's for dinner on this particular night. And you guys, it was delicious. Next up, Phil's going to grill burgers and brats. We have two of the Grandorables here for an overnight. Aubrey and Nate were here. They are the two boys, the grandsons who are closest in age, and they don't get to see each other as often as they would like. So every now and again, they will ask for a Nate and Aubrey weekend where they just come to Grandma and Grandpa's and hang out. So my mom and my daughter and I had gone to Omaha to do some shopping, and Phil had taken the boys to a movie, and we did burgers and brats and baked beans and Doritos. And because we had so many people making so many different plates and some very hungry kids, I didn't film our plates, but that's what's for dinner on this particular night. The next night, the boys have gone home, and this is Phil and my dinner, and he's putting steaks on the grill. He marinates these steaks in the steaks and chops marinade, and he marinates them for probably 2 or 3 days before he grills them. You guys, this meat is so crazy flavorful. You don't need anything else with it. It is delicious, and it really takes not a high quality cut of meat and makes it better, because the acidity in the marinade kind of helps break down the toughness of the lesser quality of meat. Now these were pretty decent quality steaks, so we don't have that issue anyway, and Phil knows exactly how I like my steaks. So we had steaks and mashed potatoes, and I don't know, I think we had watermelon out that night as well. Yep, there's the watermelon. I love fresh fruit with steaks. We actually had corn on the cob on the menu, but neither one of us thought it sounded good. Next up is a super simple and quick meal. We call it Taverns. I've heard it called different things: Taverns, loose meat, sloppy joes. To me, sloppy joes is something that has a sauce to it, and we don't put a sauce in this. We just use the ground beef and a lot of salt and pepper to make it flavorful. We like the flavor of the meat, so we don't want a lot of other things added in there. Tell me what you guys call it. Loose meats, Taverns, what do you guys call it? I'm browning about 1.5 pounds of ground beef, and this is 97% fat-free. And I'm just going to break that up and get it steaming in this saucepan on the stovetop. This is one of those meals that's really easy to customize for your particular family. You can add just about anything to it. If you've got kids that like these sandwiches, but it's hard for you to get vegetables in there, add a little bit of onion, add a little bit of corn, add a little bit of celery, anything that you can dice up small and tiny to be kind of hidden inside of those loose meats or Taverns will make it easier for the kids to like it. You can also add any kind of sauce you like, whether it's tomato based or more like a barbecue sauce. You can make it as spicy or as mild as you like. Another great tip, if you're making these sandwiches and you have small kids, we would make these as open face sandwiches when the kids were little. So just lay down a slice of bread, cut it with a pizza cutter, and then top it with some loose meats or some Tavern meat, and then we would just squirt the ketchup or mustard, relish, whatever that they wanted on top of it, and they could eat it with a spoon or a fork, and it was easier for them to eat than it was for them to try to manage a sandwich where a lot of times the meat just falls out. So that's just a tip for you if you like this kind of a meal, but it's hard for little kids to eat it. The Taverns are almost done, so I'm going to add the salt and pepper. Again, you're free to add whatever seasonings you like in here. Italian seasonings are good. Any spices, a little bit of chili flakes if you like some heat would be great also. I do take the lid off and set it aside the last several minutes the meat is cooking, and that's to allow any of the excess liquid in the pan to steam away. That prevents the buns or bread or whatever it is that you're serving your Taverns on from just completely falling apart when you put the meat inside. I've added some Tavern meat to the bottom of my hamburger bun, and now I'm going to add some spicy mustard. I love, love, love the spicy mustard. And you can't have Taverns without ketchup, at least not in this house, not in my lifetime. You have to have some ketchup on there. And I'm also going to add some dill pickle relish. I don't like putting it on the ketchup or mustard because it just kind of blops and lays there, and then you end up with a big bite of relish. I like it more consistent, so I smooth it around on top of the hamburger bun, and then I'll put my sandwich together. You guys, I'm drooling watching this. I'm so hungry. I need to go see if I have any leftovers. We also served our Taverns with some ready-made potato salad from the grocery store. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. We'll talk soon.